Hi, I'm Krissie from Solaray, and I'm here today with Jonathan from Solaray, just to chat a little bit about the upcoming price rises for power bills that we're hearing all about on the news at the moment, and I guess to pass on some tips on things that you can do to proactively help reduce your power bills, because I know that's something that is on the mind of a lot of Australian consumers right now. So I guess first of all, welcome, Jonathan. Thanks for joining us, and
Thanks, Chrissy.
yeah, I guess I just wanted to I start talking about these things to my friends now that I'm living and breathing all things solar, and I just see their eyes glaze over the second I start using acronyms like, the AER or the DMO and things like that. And so I guess I just wanted to, yeah, ask you a couple questions so that you can help the everyday person who doesn't know a lot about the technical side of this and the groups behind these decisions, just to, yeah, give them a little bit of context so they know why our power prices are going up.
Sure,
So first
let's
of all,
give it a shot.
give us the context. What was the announcement yesterday that has put power prices onto everyone's minds in the last 24 hours?
Okay, so the announcement yesterday was firstly due to be made on May 1st before the election, but one of the last things the previous government did is delay that until after the election for pretty obvious reasons.
Of course.
So the announcement was from the Australian Energy Regulator, and what the announcement was is that on July 1 they are going to raise what's called the default market offer in a number of different states. Now the default market offer is, if you think about it, kind of as the maximum you're going to pay for your energy. It's the, if you don't shop around, if you don't try and get a better deal from your retailer, that's what they're going to charge you. All right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
most people don't pay that. Some people do. Some people that are paying the lazy tax do. But the important thing is, if the default market offer is going up, then all the other costs are going to go up over a period of time as well.
Absolutely. I think I read somewhere yesterday that around 10% of Australians are on the default market offer. So yeah, is a significant number of people who are not getting the best deal on their power as it stands currently. So, how much is the DMO, the default market offer, slated to go up in New South Wales?
Well, I think it's going up to 18%, somewhere between 8 and 18%, depending on the area and the energy grid you're connected to. So it's a big whack. And importantly, it's been a few years since we've seen price increases. And in fact, for the last 2 or 3 years, we've seen energy costs actually go down as more solar and more wind is hitting the grid.
Absolutely. So I guess this is probably, I mean, people who have been paying attention knew this was coming, but for a lot of people, this will be a bit of a surprise after a few years of things trending in our favor as a consumer. So I
Yeah,
guess,
and and
w-
and the
yeah,
bad news is, sorry to
mm,
interrupt. The bad news is it's likely to be the first of many energy cost increases over the next few years. And
yeah,
without going into too much detail, it's really been driven by a mix of short-term factors and long-term ones, right? Now, the
hmm
short-term ones are obviously, with the war in Ukraine, the cost of coal, the cost of energy has gone through the roof pretty much all around the world, right? But then you might ask, well, I thought we weren't using so much coal in our grid. Well, the reality is we still are using a lot of coal on our grid. So
hmm
therefore, the cost of coal goes up, the cost of energy goes up. Which brings me to the second point. We have been so slow with transitioning from coal to renewables over the last 5 or 10 or more years that we really could have avoided a lot of this if we'd been quicker, if we'd been faster, if we'd been smarter with our uptake of renewables.
yeah. Okay. So I guess you've mentioned around, the pressures caused by things like the war in the Ukraine, things like that. What are some of the other factors, I guess, that are driving those prices up? Because I think I read with the Australian Energy Market Operator that between the first quarter of 2021 and the first quarter of 2022, prices in Australia went up. It was like 141% for the wholesale price. So it's amazing that I guess that hasn't been passed on to us sooner than this coming July. But I guess what are some of the other factors that are causing those prices to soar?
Well, the wholesale, so that is a really important one because the wholesale cost of energy actually determines ultimately what we all pay. When we pay for
Hmm.
energy, we pay a little bit for the network, a little bit for the retailer, but a big chunk of it is the wholesale cost of energy. And 141% is, a phenomenal increase in anything in the space of 1 year. But
Hmm.
in England, for example, in the UK, they've recently announced a similar type of increase of 53%. So, to a degree, we're kind of lucky at 18, but I'm sure it's not going to be the last one.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, I guess what happened in the UK earlier this year really gives us an indication of how bad it could get with just continual, price rises in the coming years, very different to what we've experienced over the last few years. One of the other big things, I guess, that's been impacting has been all the extreme weather events, whether it's heat waves or floods. It's been having impacts on the way that power has been generating and moving around the grid. And that's just, one of the other many factors that's, causing all sorts of dramas for our national grid.
Well, absolutely, because it's changed the way power is generated. It's changed the way it's been used. We've been kind of lucky in many areas of the eastern seaboard this year, but that it hasn't been too hot, which has kept energy usage down. But that's now, we're now coming into winter. It's getting colder by the day. It's looking like we're going to have a cold, wet winter. So
Hmm.
energy usage again is going to skyrocket.
Absolutely. So I guess, the regulator has, put up this benchmark yesterday, and that'll take effect from July 1st. But it's been the hottest topic of the election is the cost of living and how a lot of Australians are struggling. Why do you think, I guess what's the balancing act that they have to try to determine when trying to keep consumers protected, but also the retailers, because the last thing we want to see is a lot of retailers going under as well, because that's part of what has caused the issue in the UK.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of sympathy for the retailers, but you are right. If they all went broke en masse, we're in big trouble. So we
That's
do
it. Then
need
our
to make
prices would go up more. It's not
they
that we
go
have
up
to
big
have any
time.
loyalty to them, but
That's right.
we do need that industry not to fall apart
Yeah,
because it's something
that's
that
right.
we all use.
Exactly. We all
Absolutely.
need. That's right. We just need to make sure they charge a fair price, not a high price. But I
Exactly.
think one of the really interesting things about where we're at in Australia at the moment with energy generation and energy usage is the problem we have, not the problem, but the opportunity we have with small scale solar. So if the more people that put solar on their roofs over the next 10 years, the cheaper energy is going to be for everyone else. But if everyone
Hmm.
waits for the cheaper energy, then it's not going to get cheaper.
Yeah. No, and I guess, yeah, talking about solar, that sort of skews into where I wanted to chat about next is what can people do to save money on their power bills? Now, in our office, I'm the self-professed queen of budgeting. People tease me about the fact that I use my solar monitoring app to monitor if my husband's using the aircon too much when he doesn't need to, and things like that, because I am, yeah, very, very focused on reducing my energy usage, not so much from a bill factor, but just from a environmental factor. But I guess, yeah, just wanted to discuss and share a few different tips of things that people can do that will help to, yeah, reduce their power bills. I actually saw this meme yesterday on Facebook, and it just made me laugh so hard, thinking that the struggle of the power bill is very real for a lot of people.
That's right.
So yeah, I guess these are my five main tips. So I just wanted to have a little bit of a quick discussion around those. So reducing power usage is obviously the simplest one. We can modify our behaviors,
So can I
instantly if we
just
choose
jump in
to.
for one? Can I just jump in
Go
and make
for
a
it.
really
Go for it.
important point, Chrissy? There's
Yep.
a few things here, and they're not necessarily in order. And of course, we're going to say getting solar is one of the most
Oh,
important ones.
absolutely.
It is not the most urgent one, right?
Hmm.
You should get solar after you've done two or three of the others, and that is the
Hmm.
best way to get value, right? And
Absolutely.
um, I'm going to completely take control of the order of the points you have and just hijack this. But I'm just going to say shopping around. Shopping around is probably the first thing you should do, especially
Hmm.
if you're on the default market offer. And in fact, I had a friend of mine down the road here who was paying a fortune, and she said, please, can you help me put some solar on the roof? I need to save some money. And I went and had a look at her bill, and I said, the first thing you need to do is shop this bill around. She reduced her bill by half, right?
Wow.
And
That's
now she can
massive.
put solar in and reduce it again by
That's amazing.
50, 80. Yeah, so it
Yeah.
can happen. Do not just, keep paying it year after year.
And that's it. I think that, I'm certainly one to offer brands my loyalty, but I realize that I haven't changed my power provider uh, in probably a decade, and I don't understand why, because it's not like they do anything particularly special to earn my loyalty. Um, so, I think it's just people don't realize how easy it is to shop around and to make changes. You won't be without power. The electricity is essentially coming from the same place. It's just who's the person that you're paying and to provide that service to you. So one of the sites that we recommend to our customers is Energy Made Easy, because it's independent. They're not making money off of any customers that different companies get from referrals from them, and it's independent. And every single electricity retailer in the country has to provide their details to this site. So yeah, to me, it's just nice having a comparison site that is truly independent, provides the same information on every single supplier, and makes it really transparent and easy to see how much you could stand to save by shopping around with different ones. So I
And
know
if you do
myself,
that,
I
and
promise I'm going to do this month
yes,
and
you
make sure
should
I'm
do that.
getting a better deal than I am currently.
And Chrissy, when you get your first bill, make sure you check that they put you on the plan you signed up for. Again, there are,
Oh, okay, that's a
it's a
good tip.
personal experience. I got signed up
Yep.
for a different plan than the one I ordered, and it took me hours to sort it out.
Oh, no.
So in the end, I
Okay.
just
So just
changed again.
double check and
Mm,
make sure that, yeah,
yep,
that you're not letting them get away with spending more than you need to be. All right. So
yep.
that's a good one. All right. So that's the easiest way to shop around is with Energy Made Easy. So reducing power usage is definitely one that I have been raised on. My mother was an environmental education teacher, and I remember all the time on school assemblies and World Environment Days and things like that, seeing her talking to hordes of students about things like switching off the lights when you leave the room, not standing in front of the fridge for 10 minutes while you decide what you're going to cook for dinner, keeping your hot showers short, maybe to the length of your favorite song if you're a shower singer, and other habits like that.
Or
And I
not.
find myself already teaching my 1-year-old to switch. He likes flicking switches. So I have trained him that when we leave a room, he'll help me to turn off the light when we leave a room. But these sorts of little habits really can stack up, and just help reduce your usage, which is the easiest way to help bring your power bills down, because you can start making better choices and habits immediately. Um, I guess the other one for me is then around the appliances. So I know when I talk to my friends when they're looking at different appliances and things like that, they're really focused on what gives me the best warranty and looks the right part for my home or apartment. Whereas I have always been about what's got the best energy rating, because this has always been a conversation piece in my family. But I think it's just, yeah, making sure that when you're buying, next replacing one of your major appliances, making sure that you're choosing the ones that are going to be more energy efficient. Like I didn't know that a dryer, like I always just assumed that dryers were something that would get a 2-star rating and no better. And when I was really surprised when I bought my dryer 5 years ago, and it got a 6 Energy Star rating, and I thought it was out of 5 stars, but it turns it's out of 10. And you can actually get dryers now that get a 9 or a 10-star rating for
Mm.
energy usage, and it uses less than half the power of some of the cheaper models on the market. So do your homework and consider the energy consumption of different appliances, because that definitely will contribute to your ongoing usage, especially with big ticket items like your fridge, hot water heaters, these sorts of things,
And and
and air
and
conditioning.
especially, yep, especially some of these things, if you buy the cheaper or less expensive option, you might save $300, but it might cost you six or seven or $800 over the life of it. So if you can do it, it is worth buying it. But there's a couple of really, really important ones that
Okay.
have largely been done now, but we've been doing this for, well over a decade now. But two of the big things that absolutely need changing, if you haven't done it, you've got to do it straight away, is if you're using lights all the time, as in, if it's in a lounge room or a bedroom or somewhere where it's on all the time, make sure that you're not using the old halogen or incandescent ones.
Mhm.
Modern light bulbs use 3, 4, 5, 6 watts as opposed to 30, 40, 80, or 100 watts.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's one thing you should always do before getting solar, because that will make a bigger impact for less money. So do that first, right? So
Yeah.
shop around, certainly reduce power usage,
Mhm.
energy efficient appliances. And again, if you've got If you have a air conditioning unit that is, a ducted air conditioning unit that's more than 10 years old, the split cycle ones are a little more efficient, the old ones. But if you have a ducted
Hmm.
air conditioning unit that's more than 10 years old and you use it all the time, it's really worth looking whether you should replace that. And if you only use it a couple of days a year, it doesn't matter, right? But if you're
Hmm.
using it all summer and all winter, make sure it's as efficient as possible, because that will make a huge difference and again pay for itself.
Absolutely. And I mean, in a lot of new homes, people are getting ducted with lots of different zones. Only heat up or cool down the zones that you're using and shut the doors to all the other rooms so that you're only expending energy to heat up or cool down the spaces that you need. It's such a simple thing. I've had friends when they were renting my dad's house one summer while he was overseas that just left the aircon running full ball the whole time, and the power bill was like $2,500 for the quarter. I couldn't
Yep.
believe it just because they left the aircon running full ball in the house for the whole of summer. So it's just simple things like that that just, yeah, all contribute
And
to keeping those
and
costs
again, it's
down.
not just about the money. It's, most of the energy you're getting from the power point is generated by coal. So turn the bloody things
Absolutely.
off
And
and
that's
don't burn
one
the
other
coal.
thing
It's
actually with
not
Energy Made
necessary.
Easy. It makes it really easy to see what percentage of green power these different suppliers are committing to. So if renewables is something that's important to you, and we hope it's important to everybody, that website will also make it easy to see, yeah, how green the different retailers are as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
All right, so we can't not talk about solar, of course, because it's what we live and breathe. But I think for us, it's not just a business, it is a passion. Like everyone here at Solaray is super
Absolutely.
passionate about doing what we can to, yeah, reduce our impact on the planet. And it's great that it can also help people save some money along the way. So I guess what are the key things for you, Jonathan, that, makes solar a no-brainer for a lot of Australian households?
Okay, so again, after you've done those other things and you've got your bill as manageable as possible,
Hmm.
solar really is a no-brainer, and it is as simple as this: you spend $1, you're going to save, somewhere between 20 and 30 cents every year. If you buy the right equipment, you might spend $1.50, but it's going to last 20, 25 years. So
Hmm.
depending on how long you're going to be, it is just such a simple and easy and nowadays very safe thing to do that makes a huge impact on the amount of money you spend on energy for a long, long period of time, for
Yeah.
10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, and that's it. Like I know I'm in my forever home, so I spent more when Solaray installed my solar before I started working here, on the higher end products because I knew that I would see those returns, tenfold and more across the lifetime of the system. Because I know I'm staying in my home for a long time, and my power bills dropped from, sort of $600 to $800 a quarter, down to as low as $120 a quarter. So significant impact. And I don't yet have a battery. The solar alone made that impact for me in my house. And if I used more power, I would get a lot more return on it. But I do, yeah, pride myself on being a low power user, and solar certainly supports that.
So my basic statement is, and there are exceptions to this, but not many. If you're going to be in a house more than 5 years, you're mad if you don't put solar on. You really just
Yeah.
should do it, right? It really is as simple as that. It's inexpensive up front, and it just saves much more than it costs, and it lasts forever.
Absolutely. All right. So then the last thing I wanted to talk about from our list here is adding a solar battery. So a lot of people already have solar, which is fantastic. And we've certainly had lots of people going, "Oh, I'm going to wait until the price of the technology goes down," but we're not seeing that trend at all. The prices are only going up. But I think it's really focused more on consumption now than it is about feed-in tariffs and all these things. The conversation around solar has changed a lot in the last few years, in particular. For you, it's not about return on investment, but what are the key reasons that I guess getting a battery makes smart sense for an Australian consumer?
Okay, so the first thing is all the forecasts say that over the next 10 or 20 years, household energy usage is going to go up. And it's going to go up because we're not going to be using gas anymore. We're going to have electric vehicles,
Hmm.
so on and so forth. Appliances will become smarter, etc. So a battery will save you more money. So if solar is saving you money and you add a battery to it, you will save more money than with just solar. the big chunk of that's going to be with solar. So, you save a bit more with the battery. But what you do get with the battery is a few other things. Firstly, you get the ability to control your usage a lot more. So you're less dependent on your retailer. You can control when you use it, how you use it, and so on and so forth, right? So it
Mhm.
puts people back in control of their energy usage and makes them less dependent on their retailer, which makes it easier to shop around and save more money. The second thing most people get with us with a good quality solar battery is backup in case of a grid outage. Now, some areas of our major towns now don't get grid outages, but many, many of them do. And
Mhm.
having been through this many times myself, when you've got a battery on the wall of your house and the power goes out and you've still got your heating on and you've still got the TV running and you're still cooking dinner and you're still using the internet, it is just a fabulous feeling.
Absolutely. I remember one of our customers last month had an outage, a 12-hour outage that started 1 minute before he had a really critical work meeting, and he was really grateful for his Powerwall,
That's right.
allowing him to not miss his critical work meeting when there was an outage that hit quite suddenly. So, yeah, it definitely does provide you some peace of mind, just in case. I mean, with all the weather events we're having as too, we've seen areas that don't normally, have any proneness to having blackouts actually getting impacted by it. I had
Yep.
friends up at Currajong that had, yeah, spotty power for days during the floods earlier this year. And boy, they've already got solar, but I bet they're kicking themselves that they didn't get a battery yet, because it would have really saved their buns, yeah, during that crazy weather event,
Yep.
which we're only going to see more and more of.
We are. And the last point I'll make on that is, again, um, especially with changes in policies that are coming up, the rate of EV or electric vehicle uptake in Australia is going to skyrocket. So
Hmm.
if not your next car, but probably the car after that is going to be an electric vehicle, having solar batteries at home allows you to store some of that solar power and use it to charge your car in the evening when you really need to. Because generally, if you're out at work, you don't charge your car during the day, you want to charge it at night. So solar batteries, we have customers with electric vehicles now that have one or two, 13.5 kilowatt hour batteries, and they just charge their cars solely from solar power using
Hmm.
batteries. So even with electric vehicles, their bills are often at or very close to zero.
Absolutely. And I mean, the more customers we talk to, the more I'm hearing people, say, I want solar that is future proofing me for when I do get an electric vehicle, because I think people are really starting to understand that this is what's happening over the next few years, and we need to prepare our homes so that we're ready to make that transition. All
Yep,
right,
that's
well,
right.
that gives us a bunch of different areas of things that people can do to save money on their power bills, which is, at the end of the day, what we all want. Even people with low usage like me, or there's people with high usage like yourself, in more regional homes that have houses that need a lot more power than some of us city folk do. It all contributes. So I would suggest that, yeah, pick any one of these things. Like Jonathan said, there's a few that you can do that are really easy to enact, very little output, in terms of money that you need to spend to make those changes, and get those ones ticked off the list first. But if you are thinking about, getting solar or adding a battery if you've already got solar, then please come and have a quick chat with us. One of our team could have a 10-minute conversation with you and really help you to establish, what the value is, what the returns could be, and just, yeah, assess how suitable solar or the battery would be for your particular needs, and help you find something that's going to suit you. I think the big thing for us is guaranteed no high pressure sales. We're not about that. We're just about giving good advice, because our industry certainly has a bit of a reputation for badgering people with constant phone calls, and not taking no for an answer. And that's certainly not the experience that we'll provide here at Solaray. We just want to help people make smart choices, and get ahead of those power bills while doing something good for the planet. So if you want to, yeah, have a quick chat with us and learn a little bit more about what solar or a battery could do for your home, then just click on the link, and one of our team will give you a call, and we'll take it from there. Anything else you want to add, Jonathan? Power bills are, going up, so we need to get some more batteries added to your new home, I think.
Well, absolutely, they're on the way. But that's the other
Absolutely.
thing. Batteries are in short supply at the moment, which is
Well,
partly
that's
why the
true
cost
too.
keeps
So, you
going
can
up.
get
So
things, and I think as, we come into winter, like you said, the sooner you get solar, the sooner you'll start to offset those heating costs. We're definitely starting to feel the temperature shift in our house. So the
yep.
aircon will definitely be getting a little bit more of a workout moving forward for the next few months, that's for sure. Awesome. Well, if you want to have a chat about solar, you know where to find us. Thanks for joining us.